Thank you for joining me today. It's good to see you.
Good to
We
see
are
you.
anxious. Yeah, we're anxious to get some more information and get an update and hear what's happening. So first, just start by introducing yourself. That would be the great way to begin.
Okay. My name is Faye Kreider, and I am President CEO of Workforce Network. We are a company, a nonprofit that is up in the Hill Country, in the Highland Lakes area, and we are doing training, skills training, and we are incorporating getting ahead into that training because we are addressing individuals with barriers to employment.
Got it. Talk to me a little bit about how you connected those.
How I connected it to the training?
Correct. Like getting ahead. Yes.
Okay, so it goes way back. Way back in 2000, I learned about Dr. Ruby Payne's book, Framework of Poverty. I was in charge of facilitation of case managers, of teaching case management. And so I asked them, I learned about it, and I asked that we incorporate the curriculum. And so Albert Ortiz, who worked with me, was sent for training, and we began teaching Framework of Poverty to all of our case managers. Several years later, I came up here and we retired up here in the Hill Country in the Marble Falls area. And I attended a session where Dr. Ruby Payne was actually presenting on Framework of Poverty to the school system, the Marble Falls Independent School System. And at that time, I started investigating Bridges Out of Poverty. So I first got certified in Bridges Out of Poverty and then learned about getting ahead in a just getting by world. And as we were dealing with individuals who began the programs but did not complete the programs because, as I always say, life got in the way, it became very apparent that we needed to address this situation of instability. And so we started looking at getting ahead. But that program would never have happened if it weren't for Larry Stahl, who is sitting right next to me. And I'm going to ask Larry to tell the rest of that story because he is the one who actually made the program happen. So this is Larry Stahl.
Hi.
Welcome, Larry.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity for us to be here and talk to you all about the Getting Ahead program. So Faye and I were on parallel paths, but neither one of us knew it. I heard about the Getting Ahead in the Just Getting By world through St. Vincent de Paul. And I have been Sinjin for 23 years now. And I found out about the Getting Ahead program through the Austin Archdiocese. And so I was trying to get something going here for the homeless individuals. And instead, I failed at that. And instead, I figured, well, let's see if we can give a hand up rather than a handout, because that's what St. Vincent de Paul does, is handouts. And so the Getting Ahead program is a hand up. And so I made the decision that our conference here locally in Marble Falls didn't have the bandwidth to do the Getting Ahead program because we had our hands full taking care of the poor here in this area. And I made the conscious decision to make it a community effort. And I talked to an individual here in Marble Falls that's very connected in the community and active in the community. And she knew about Faye and she knew about me, and she and I were working together a lot. So she connected Faye and I together. And Faye was ecstatic because she's been trying to get the program going and didn't have the time to do it. And I wanted to focus on that. And so that's how we got this program started. And that was probably in 2002, 22, I think.
22.
That was in 22. So, that's, and we've been a success. We have been a success because we've got community involvement. And that's really, in my opinion, the key to the success of this program in any given community.
Agreed. Collaboration at its best, what I'm hearing. But talk a
Yes.
little more about how the community has become involved.
So we've got the rest of the community involved through various means. Financial support. The city of Marble Falls has an arm of the city called the EDC, Economic Development Corporation, and they have been helping finance every single class that we've had so far. And now we've got the commitment from them to fund up to 4 classes a year in Marble Falls. And so they're funding about, I want to say 25% of the program. Another 25% is funded because we go out and we solicit to all the fast food restaurants to support us by offering free meals. And churches have jumped in to do it, and also individuals have done it. So we've had multiple individuals doing our meals for us. We also have a church, Catholic Church here has given us their space to use at no cost. So all of these things are helping us to also drive the cost down. So, but it's also a community effort. And so that's really, in my opinion, that's what's been our success is everybody getting involved in this in various factions.
Agreed. I totally agreed. So talk to me about some of the successes you've seen with the Getting Ahead graduates.
So the successes that we've seen, well, people, individuals, churches, organizations have jumped in to help us when they hear about the program, to help us financially. We also have had 4 programs so far with a total of 35 students that have graduated. We have had, help me out here, Faye. What are the successes?
Well, I think one of the greatest successes is that we are getting well known in the area for Getting Ahead. Every time we graduate a class, we invite everyone, and we have also included the Getting Ahead in our grant request. So we just got a $4.3 million grant from the Department of Commerce. And as a part of what they call wraparound services, we are able to put in individuals into the Getting Ahead class, because what we've learned is that people can get a job, but they can't always keep a job because of stability issues.
Correct. Yes.
So we have moved the whole conversation towards how do we make individuals that we train with barriers to employment, how do we make them more employable and at the same time increase stability so they can be better workers. That's the way we got the Economic Development Corporation involved, was by proving to them that they will become better workers. And as I talk about these classes, Lynn, can I go on and I introduced you to Cece or Celice Goad. Celice Goad, we call her Cece. Cece she and I taught the very first class, and we learned then about the challenge of maintaining a class every week, every Tuesday. But she has really taken it and to the next level. So this time she actually ran 2 classes, and we have now made her the director of the program. So as I get real busy with this grant, Larry and Cece are the ones that are really making it happen. So I'm gonna turn Cece on over here, and so that you can meet her. And then I'm going to let Cece talk to you about some of the individual successes that we've had in the program.
Got it.
Hi. Well, we like they said, we have had 4 classes so far. From our first class, we started with 10 and graduated 8, and of those, we've had 2. One that has completed nursing school, one that has almost completed nursing school, one that has enrolled in college and will be finishing her associates in May, and then on to get her bachelor's in the fall. Her daughter has already finished the associates and gone into, and all this started after them taking the Getting Ahead class. These were students who had really not a lot of hope or direction.
Right.
And through the process of the class, they were able to figure out a direction that was right for them. And that's really one of the neatest parts about this class, is that it doesn't tell anyone where to go. It just helps them figure that out for themselves. From our second class, we have, and also one of our, from the first class, one of the ones that graduated nursing home, she's just moved into her first home through Habitat for Humanity. And, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and a lot of dedication that goes into that, and commitment, and she has worked through that. Our second class, we didn't quite have the graduation success. We had a lot more mental instability in our second class. So we started with 8 and graduated 5 out of that class. And also the timing of the year, I think, was a little bit off for us. I think, where we live, it's when we do the class is kind of important to attendance.
Yes.
When we schedule it throughout the year. But with that second group, we had some get housing that didn't have housing. We had some improved job stability. Again, we've had a lot of increase in mental health stability and mental health resources. And so that's where the second class, and we just graduated the third and fourth class in February of this year, and they are on to 2 of those have already enrolled in college, and one is working on her master's. 2 that attended our class came all the way from Georgetown because they wanted to start in Texas. By the way, we're in Texas, in case y'all didn't have that note, but they came from Georgetown, which is about an hour away. Because they want to start a program there. So they went through the class with us, and one person came more as learning, she's already learned to be a facilitator, but just come to see the process. And the other that came with her was someone who really needed the class and is working into a lot more stability in her life. Our Spanish speaking class was the 4th class that we had. 2 of the teachers, the facilitators for that class, were graduates from our first and second class.
Right.
And the Spanish speaking class was it was the funnest class. They were just a great group. Most of them work in the same place, and they referred each other, and we didn't have a single drop out of these last 2 classes. We had 12 graduate through 12 start and 12 finish. So we really had a lot more success. And I think the main reason why is about half of the investigators that we have in the program were referred by previous graduates. Yes. And like Faye said, the fact that we're getting the popularity, I believe, is really helping a lot, because every time we do a graduation, people say, I want to take the class. I want to take the class. And my other jobs, I work with many unstable groups in the community. So we have plenty of investigator potential in our community.
That's great. So what you're describing sounds like what we talk about, or what's talked about in the facilitator training as well. Getting the community involved, also then getting the facilitators involved after they've graduated,
Exactly.
Hoping to come back, but then also tracking and seeing those stability indicators continue to grow. Yeah.
It really has become, as we're on this call right now, one of our Getting Ahead graduates is kind of dealing with a crisis. So she's been calling me and texting me currently. So it's not something, it doesn't go away when the classes are over. It's nice to let them know that they have support and places to look for that support. And help them expand their resources and figure out, I always say one of the things, I like that by including the meals, we feed people.
Yeah.
And from neural development, we know that when someone's hungry, it's really difficult to learn. So I think to create more stability for them, having a place to care for their children, having a meal for them to eat, knowing that they're going to get a gas gift card on the way home, really helps them be able to relax into hearing the possibility of making a change in their life. So I think that's really helpful.
You're correct. You've taken away the tyranny of the moment, at least for a few hours. Yeah.
Exactly.
Got it. All right. Tell me what's next. When's your
Okay.
next class?
We will start again in September. We try to start right after Labor Day. We found that we have the most participants that stick with the program when we start about that time of year, when the kids go back to school and all schedules change, so they can incorporate that into their schedule. So we'll start our next class probably right after Labor Day.
Got it.
And probably more than one class. So Larry can give you more details on that.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Faye. Thanks to Celice. I mean, Celice has really been a key for our success on this program. But she's been able to, so we've been able to drive the cost per participant from $2,200 down to about $1,500, which I think is significant. Now, the space given to us, the meals being provided at no cost, and then Celice has been able to get the class from a 20-week program down to a 16-week program. And we still have a full degree of success by doing that. So I need to mention that, because that is, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 20-week program. You can get it down a little bit, and that can help drive costs down. So you asked what's next. So because of the success that we've had, the biggest hurdle to overcome is having enough facilitators.
Yep.
And again, thanks to Celice, we now have 9 facilitators for the next phase of what we're going to do. And so we're hoping, and it's been made clear to me that we have to fund these programs before we kick them off, which we haven't been doing. So we now are trying to, so Marble Falls won't be an issue. We'll have 2 programs in Marble Falls, one English, one Spanish. That's almost a given almost every year, and it may expand beyond that in time. We also are trying to get the attention of Marble Falls ISD because several people have said to us, and we already figured this out before they've said this to us, that why didn't I have this in high school? Because if they had it in high school, they would be able to have a better life before they even got to us. And so we're trying to get it into the high school level. In addition to that, some towns that are close by, and we have some individuals that went through the program that are now certified facilitators, live in a couple towns close by. So we want to kick one off in Granite Shoals, and we want to kick one off in Kingsland. And the one we kick off in Kingsland, we're hoping to bring 2 people down from Llano that could be facilitators in Llano for the following year. So we're trying to do 2 things: help those that need help and get them on their feet, and try to expand the program in other areas that need it. Every area needs it, but those areas that are close by to us. And then in addition to those 5 programs, then we also have Georgetown, which we'll be kicking off. Now, we'll be supporting Georgetown with logistic issues. the paperwork that we do, all the things that they might run into that they might need help with and that they have to line up ahead of time. But financially, they have to support themselves and they have to find the meals and so on and so forth. But we're going to give them guidance and as much support as we can.
Perfect.
So that's what's next.
I love it. Thank you all so much. Oh, any last comments? Oh, Larry has some last comments. Do you?
Do you have a comment?
Yeah, I guess the biggest comment that I have that would make the greatest amount of impact for other people in other areas is this must be a community effort.
Yes.
I've said that to you earlier. I think it really is important. Money will always come. A lot of people worry about it. I don't worry about it. And it's easy for me to say. But I think if you present the program appropriately, you will be funded and you will have enough funds. But the key is to have as much of the community involved as possible, because that is what really will make it successful.
I agree. Thank you. Faye, any last words?
I think my last words are that it was worth the investment of time and energy. It is a way to combat instability in the workplace. And many people don't really think about that when they're planning this program. But for us, because Workforce Network is about getting people back into the workforce, this program has proven to make a big difference in an individual's ability to maintain employment. So to be real honest, we dream of implementing the workplace stability concepts. We are not there yet. That will be our next step. The grant that we have received is very involved with employers, and we do employer sectors as a part of that grant. And so that, I think, will be a time when we will eventually be able to introduce workplace stability to the employers, which will make a difference, because we'll be able to provide not only the stability in the workplace with the employer understanding, but also with overcoming some of those barriers as we move away from the grant. And I also just got the opportunity to write a new grant that we think will be perfect for getting ahead. So that is the other piece. The funding is a challenge. It has been made available because of the Economic Development Corporation's understanding the importance of stability in the workplace. And the fact that Larry has so many connections has made this so much easier to fund. We've also been funded by the Rotary Club of Marble Falls, and the Knights of Columbus,
a couple of churches,
and we have our meals. That when we serve our meals, they are served by
Highland Lakes Service
League. Highland Lakes Service League.
Yeah.
And so that has also generated. Talk about the community involvement. It's a service organization that is well known here in the Hill Country.
And they funded us as well.
They have, and they've funded us for 2 years, in fact. And they're our biggest fans. They love this program, and those that come and serve fall in love with the program. So that's another huge piece that came to us because of Larry. And Cece, is there anything that you wanted to add?
I think, for me, I'm really lucky. I don't have to worry about the funding part. But the stories for Larry says he doesn't worry about the money. I worry about the money. They worry about the stories. I don't worry about the stories, which is how we can each do our parts of this program. And I just feel so honored to have been just a tiny piece of so many people's lives and watching the change that happens. It just, you guys have been through it. You've seen it. It's amazing to see people go from no hope to hope. People going from no plan to having a plan. And, they're going to stumble along the way. But, we have the place in getting ahead where we have the backdoor plan, so when things do fall down, so that they know their plan to come back to, and they feel confident when they leave in their plans, and they know that they can reach out beyond the classes. They know that once these classes are over, that their access to resources is not. And so that has just been really neat to watch. I work with a wide population of children through my other job, and oftentimes you find people with lack of hope, and it's really neat to see people go through a program where they start that way and they end up in that different space. And that I can't be grateful enough to be able to be a part of it. It's just really neat to me.
Thank you. What a great way to end. And thanks to all of you for your time and just talking about what's happening in your part of Texas. And I'm sure that we'll be catching up with you again.
Awesome. We'll pop in.
I just want to say thank you for thinking of us. And we're going to be looking for guidance on workplace stability very soon.
We're here to help.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye now.